The TV inside the small restaurant was loud, and the room smelled like pepper soup and fried fish. Men laughed, plates clinked, and football highlights flashed across the screen. But then the news changed, and a bright red banner ran across the bottom. Only child of late Chief Benjamin Adam inherits, 50 million gold investment. A photo filled the screen. It was Amara. Pascal dropped his spoon. For one long second he could not move. The woman on the TV, calm, beautiful and strong, was the same woman he had pushed out of his house that morning. His wife. His throat went dry, chairs scraped, his friends slowed their chewing. On the TV, a convoy of black SUVs rolled through a wide gate in Lekki, and reporters ran beside them. The voice of the newsreader was steady. Barrister Benson, executor of the will, confirms that the gold shares were held secretly for years. As the only child, Amara Adam inherits the full value, $50 million. Pascal's heart slammed in his chest. He stood up so fast his chair fell back. The room blurred, and then blackness pressed around his eyes. Before he could fall, his friends grabbed his arms. "Pascal, hey, sit, breathe," one said. "How? How can this be?" Pascal whispered. The newsreader kept talking. A clip showed Amara stepping out of one of the SUVs. She didn't look broken. She didn't look lost. She looked like a storm that had found its calm center. Pascal's lips trembled. He had no idea she was worth that much. He had no idea at all. That morning had started with dust. Pascal kicked open the bedroom door and grabbed 2 bags, the same bags he swore he never wanted to see again. He dragged them across the floor, the zippers scratching the tiles, and threw them into the corridor. The house was small, but the anger inside him made every wall feel tight, like the rooms were closing in. "Get out," he said. His voice was hard. I'm done with this bad luck." Amara stood still, her back straight, her eyes red. She had barely slept. Tears hung on her lashes, but did not fall yet. Her hands were at her sides. She looked at the bags, then at Pascal. "Please," she said softly, "don't do this." Pascal's pride flared like fire. "Don't do what?" "Pretend again. 5 years, Amara. 5 years of nothing. No child, no joy. Every job interview, bad luck. Every plan, bad luck. You came into my life, and everything went down. The doctor said—" Amara's voice shook, but she did not raise it. "The doctor said your tests showed a problem we can treat. We can get help, Pascal. You just have to come back for—" Pascal slammed his palm against the wall. "Stop. Don't say that to me. I'm a man. I said I'm fine." Her tears finally fell. They rolled down her cheeks and landed on her chin, one by one, like little glass beads. She did not wipe them. She did not argue. She just watched him, like she was saying goodbye to a person she had loved for a long time. "I have stood with you," she whispered. "When you had nothing, I cooked. When you were sick, I slept on the hospital chair for 2 nights. When rent was due, I sold my necklaces. I prayed with you. I fasted. I hoped. I still hope." Pascal swallowed, but his anger was a wall he would not climb over. Hope does not pay rent. He picked up the bags again and shoved past her. The door swung wide. The morning air was cool, the compound dusty, the sun still weak. He walked to the gate and threw the bags outside. They landed with a dull sound on the sandy road. "Out," he said, pointing. "Today. I want my peace back." Amara looked down. She took a breath. Then she walked to the mirror in the hallway and tied her scarf tighter. She touched the little gold ring on her finger, the ring that meant their promises. For a second, her mouth tightened like she might break. But she didn't. When she stepped outside, she bent down, dusted the bags with her palm, and stood tall again. Her face was wet, but her hands did not shake. Pascal stood at the doorway, arms crossed, jaw hard. "Good," he said. "Carry your bad luck away." Amara's eyes flicked to his face, as if to hold it one last time in her memory. Then she turned and walked toward the gate. Her phone buzzed. She stopped, looked at the screen, and a quiet strength moved across her face. She dialed a number. "Good morning, Barrister Benson," she said. "Yes, I got your message yesterday. I am ready." Pascal heard only the name, Barrister Benson, and snorted. "You're calling a lawyer now? To cry about me?" She did not answer him. A few minutes later, while the morning was still new, a distant hum grew on the road. It became louder, like thunder rolling closer. People on the street turned their heads, children stood on their toes to see. Then the convoy appeared, black SUVs, polished windows, quiet power. They stopped by the gate like they had always known the way. A man in a dark suit stepped out, checked a list, and gave a small bow. "Madame Amara," he said. Pascal's hands fell from his chest. "What is this?" he asked. But his voice was smaller now. Amara faced him. Her tears had dried, and what was left in her eyes was not anger. It was something steadier than anger. "Goodbye, Pascal," she said. "I pray you find the peace you are looking for." He opened his mouth to ask again, but the security man was already lifting the bags into the car. Doors clicked. Engines waited like tame animals ready to move. "Amara," Pascal said, his voice breaking for the first time, "where are you going? Who are these people?" "People who are here to do what is right," she said. The convoy rolled away, clean tires lifting a soft puff of dust. The gate shook. The street was quiet again. Pascal stood there, empty. He did not know that while he was shouting that morning, a new world had been walking toward her. He did not know that her late father, Chief Benjamin Adam, had planted a tree of gold in secret. So one day his only child would stand under its shade. By evening the restaurant was thick with noise again, but in Pascal's ears there was only the TV. His friends tried to laugh off the shock. "Maybe it's not your Amara," one said, but even he didn't believe his own words. The camera zoomed in on her face, her careful smile, the curve of her cheek, the ring she had stopped wearing this morning. The reporter spoke to a man in glasses. The caption read, "Barrister Benson, executor of the will." Chief Benjamin Adam invested in gold mines, Benson said. The shares were hidden to protect the family. He named one child in his will, Amara Adam. Pascal felt like the floor had moved under him. He pulled out his phone with shaking fingers. "Call her," one friend whispered. "If she loves you, she will forgive." "Say sorry before it is too late," another said. Pascal dialed. It rang, once, twice. Then she picked. Her voice was calm, not cruel, not warm, just a flat line where a river used to be. "Hello, Pascal." Pascal's breath hitched. "Amara, I did not know. I am sorry. I was angry. Please, can we talk?" A pause. He waited, his heart beating hard. "Come," she said at last. "Number 10, Lecky White Mansion." The line clicked. His friends stared at him. "What did she say?" one asked. She asked me to come," Pascal said. His voice was thin. "Then go," another said. "Go now." Pascal ran out of the restaurant, almost forgetting to pay. He waved, threw money on the counter, and rushed into the evening streets. The city lights looked like eyes watching him. His steps were fast, his mind faster. In every picture the TV had shown, Amara did not look like a woman begging to be taken back. She looked like a woman who had learned how to stand. Traffic choked the road to Lecky, but he pushed on. Okada, keke, then a bus, then his own tired legs. He reached the wide gate of Lecky White Mansion long after the sun had gone down, tall walls, bright lights, guards in dark uniforms, cameras that moved like quiet birds. Pascal swallowed and walked to the intercom. "Name?" a guard asked. "Pascal," he said. I was invited." The guard made a call. The gate began to slide open with a soft hum. Inside, the compound stretched like a small city. Palm trees waved in the night wind. Water from a fountain made a gentle sound, like rain that had learned to sing. The mansion itself stood tall and bright, its windows glowing. Pascal's knees felt weak. He climbed the steps. The big front doors opened. A figure stepped into the light at the top of the stairs, calm, straight, dressed in white. Pascal dropped to his knees. "Amara, please," he began, his voice breaking. But before he could say more, another pair of footsteps echoed from within the mansion, steady and sure, and a shadow joined hers at the doorway. And the words that followed would change everything. Pascal's knees hit the marble floor so hard that the sound echoed in the quiet night. "Amara, please," he said, his hands trembling. "I'm sorry for everything. I didn't know what I was doing." Amara stood at the top of the stairs, her white dress glowing under the golden chandelier. The calm look on her face made Pascal feel small. She had once been the woman who waited for him to come home late, who smiled even when there was no food in the house. But now she looked like someone from another world, peaceful, distant, untouchable. "You're on your knees," she said softly. "You once told me I was not worth a single prayer." Her voice was steady, but her eyes shimmered for a brief second. Then the softness disappeared again. "I didn't mean it," Pascal said quickly. "I was angry. I was foolish. Please forgive me." She turned slightly, as if to look behind her, and Pascal saw a man step out of the shadows, tall, broad-shouldered, and wearing a neat black suit. His calm confidence made Pascal's heart squeeze. "Madame, should I send him away?" the man asked. His voice was deep, respectful, but protective. "No, Jacob," Amara said. "I'll handle this." Jacob nodded and disappeared through another doorway. But his presence was enough to make Pascal's palms sweat. Who was that?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "My business partner," Amara replied, her tone flat. "He handles my late father's estate." Pascal blinked, still on his knees. "Your father's estate," he repeated slowly. $50 million. She looked at him. "You finally believe it's real?" He lowered his gaze. "I was a fool." Amara stepped down one stair, then another, until she stood right before him. Her perfume, the same gentle scent she used to wear when she cooked dinner, drifted between them. But now it smelled like a memory that belonged to someone else. "I begged you to go to the hospital with me," she said quietly. "I told you the doctor said your sperm count was low. You insulted me in front of everyone. You called me barren." Pascal's lips trembled. "I was ashamed. And you thought shame was heavier than truth." Her eyes glistened. "Do you know what it's like to cry yourself to sleep every night because the man you love thinks you're cursed?" He dropped his head. "Amara, please." She took a slow breath, her fingers tightening around the silk fabric of her dress. For a moment, her eyes softened again, but only for a heartbeat. "Pascal," she said, "I have no anger left for you. I forgave you already. But we can never go back." The words hit him harder than any slap could. He looked up. You're divorcing me?" Her eyes filled with quiet strength. "You divorced me the moment you threw me out." Pascal's chest tightened. His mind raced with images of the morning, her tears, her silence, the sound of her bags hitting the sand. Now he understood the weight of every second. "Please," he said again, "I can change. I'll go for treatment. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't leave me." Amara gave a small, sad smile. "I already left." She turned slightly and called to one of the guards. "Show him to the garden." Pascal frowned, confused. What? What do you mean?" "You said you needed work," she said. "I'll give you work." The guard nodded and gestured toward the side path. Pascal followed, still kneeling for a moment, then standing on weak legs. His shoes tapped softly against the stone floor as they moved outside. The garden stretched behind the mansion, wide and green, with trimmed hedges and tall lamps glowing faintly in the evening mist. The air smelled of fresh grass and wealth. "This will be your place," Amara said, stepping beside him. "The tools are in the shed. You start tomorrow." Pascal's mouth fell open. "You want me to be your gardener?" She looked at him, her face unreadable. "You said I was bad luck. Let's see how you handle the luck that comes from my house." He froze. "I'm not doing this to humiliate you," she said quietly. "You need work. I don't want you begging or drinking away your pain. But I also can't bring you back as my husband. That part of my life ended." Her voice softened again, just enough to sound almost kind. "Work hard. Earn your peace. That's all I can give." Pascal wanted to speak, but his throat burned. He wanted to shout, to cry, to hold her hand like before. But she had already turned away. "Good night, Pascal," she said as she walked toward the mansion. The guards followed behind her, the heavy doors closed, and the sound echoed across the quiet garden. Pascal stood there under the dim lights, his heart pounding, the taste of regret heavy on his tongue. He looked around at the mansion, the flowers, the smooth marble path, all of it hers now. The woman he once mocked now owned a world far greater than anything he could imagine. He slowly sank to the ground, his head in his hands. The night wind blew gently across his face. "God, what have I done?" he whispered. Days turned into weeks. Every morning, Pascal woke before sunrise, watering the garden, trimming flowers, cleaning fountains. The mansion's walls towered above him, beautiful and cruel. Sometimes, from a distance, he could hear Amara's laughter from the balcony, a laughter that used to belong to him. He tried not to look up when she passed by with her lawyers and drivers, but every time he caught a glimpse of her, something inside him cracked. One afternoon, while he was cutting roses near the driveway, a black car stopped by the gate. The door opened and Jacob stepped out, smiling as he handed Amara a file. "Good news," Jacob said. "The board approved your proposal. You're now the CEO of the new branch." Amara's face lit up. "Thank you, Jacob." Pascal froze behind the hedge. CEO. He felt his stomach twist. Jacob glanced toward the garden and saw Pascal standing there, dirty and silent. He gave a polite nod but said nothing. Pascal nodded back weakly, his pride dying a little more. That night, as Pascal sat alone in the shed, he thought about everything, about the house he once called home, about the woman who once loved him, and about the man now walking beside her. Bitterness grew like weeds in his chest. He told himself he was happy for her. He told himself it was his punishment. But each time he saw Amara and Jacob together, laughing, planning, growing closer, something dark began to whisper inside him. By the third month, that whisper had become a voice. And one night, as the rain fell hard on the mansion roof, Pascal's trembling hands made a call he should never have made. A call that would change everything. The rain was loud that night, the kind of rain that silenced everything else. It slammed against the mansion's glass windows and rolled down in silver streams. Inside the small gardener's shed, Pascal sat on a wooden stool, dripping wet. His shirt clung to his skin. His hands shook as he held his phone, the glow of the screen lighting up his tired face. He stared at the contact name on the screen. Hugo, street guy. He had saved the number months ago, back when life was still wild, back when he hung around bars and corners after every fight with Amara. Hugo was not a friend. He was a man who handled dirty things, the kind of person you only call when you've stopped listening to reason. Pascal's thumb hovered over the call button. His chest ached. His mind screamed at him to stop, but the pain in his heart was louder. Through the shed's window, he could see Amara's mansion glowing like a small palace. Even in the storm, it looked untouchable. He saw her shadow pass near the upstairs balcony. She was laughing on the phone, her white dress faintly visible in the soft light. And just beside her, Jacob. He was tall, calm and confident, always wearing that same faint smile that made Pascal feel invisible. Jacob wasn't just her business partner anymore. Everyone knew it. The newspapers had begun to talk. Billionaire heiress Amara Adam and CEO Jacob Daniels spotted together at Lagos Charity Gala. Pascal felt something twist inside him. It wasn't love anymore. It was envy, guilt, and shame mixed into something poisonous. He slammed his fist on the table. "That should have been me," he whispered. "That should have been my life." His breathing grew heavy. The rain kept pounding. The phone buzzed in his hand again, and before he could think further, he pressed call. After 2 rings, a rough voice answered. "Pascal, long time, my man. You disappear." "Hugo," Pascal said, his voice low. "I need your help." "Eh? Eh?" Hugo laughed. "You dey sound serious. Wetin happen?" Pascal's grip tightened. "It's not something I want to say over the phone. Can you meet me tonight?" Hugo paused, then laughed again. "You know I know they sleep early. Send location." Pascal sent the address. He could barely believe what he was doing, but the pain in his chest made him move like a man possessed. An hour later, the rain had softened to a drizzle. Pascal waited under the third mainland bridge, shivering slightly as he leaned against a concrete pillar. His old jacket was soaked. Cars rushed overhead, their headlights streaking through the wet night. Hugo arrived on a motorcycle, another man behind him. Both wore hooded jackets. They smelled like cigarettes and danger. "Guy," Hugo said, grinning as he stepped off the bike. You still find small O, even after all these years. So why you call me for night like thief? Pascal looked around nervously. I need a favor, a big one. Ugo crossed his arms. Say it. Pascal's throat tightened. The words were heavy. There's a man. I need him gone. The laughter died from Ugo's face. Gone, how? Gone, Pascal repeated, his eyes dark. Forever. The second man, tall and scarred, gave a low whistle. You sure say you ready for that kind wahala? Pascal looked away. He took everything from me. Ugo smirked. Na woman matter, Abi? Pascal said nothing. His silence was enough. Ugo lit a cigarette. I go need money. I'll pay you, Pascal said quickly, as soon as I get my next salary. Ugo burst out laughing. Salary, guy. You want person disappear with gardener money? Pascal flinched. The word gardener stabbed his pride again. I'll find the money, he said, voice trembling but firm. Just do it. I want it clean. No trace. Ugo exchanged a glance with his partner. We go think but if you lie to me, Pascal. He leaned close, the cigarette ember glowing near Pascal's cheek. We go finish you too. He stepped back, smirking. I go call you. As they rode off, Pascal stood alone under the bridge, the echo of the engine fading into the wet night. His heart pounded. What had he just done? The sun rose pale and tired, as if even the sky was unsure. Pascal dragged himself to work, his eyes heavy, his mind spinning. The mansion looked peaceful again, like nothing bad could ever touch it. Amara was already on the balcony, sipping tea, her white robe glowing in the soft light. Jacob stood beside her, handing her a document. They looked happy, peaceful. Pascal turned away quickly. He didn't want to feel. He just wanted this to end. Good morning, Pascal, Amara said as she descended the stairs later. Her voice was warm, polite, the kind of tone she used for employees. Good morning, Ma, he replied quietly. She smiled faintly. The flowers look beautiful. You're doing a good job. Her words hit him like a slap and a hug at once. She was kind, too kind, and that kindness hurt more than cruelty could. Thank you, Ma, he whispered, barely meeting her eyes. She nodded and walked toward her car, Jacob following close behind. The convoy of security SUVs followed them out through the tall gate. Pascal's gaze lingered. He wondered if Ugo would follow through, if by tonight Jacob would be gone forever. A thought flashed through his mind. What if she finds out it was me? He pushed it away. She won't, he told himself. She'll never know. That night, the rain returned. Heavy, unforgiving. Jacob was driving back alone from a business meeting. His guards followed in another car behind. As he slowed near the curve before Lecky White Mansion, two men stepped out from the shadows, their faces hidden under raincoats. Before Jacob could react, one of them raised a gun. Shots cracked through the air, sharp, echoing, violent. The security SUV behind him screeched to a stop. Men jumped out with rifles. A brief, chaotic exchange of gunfire filled the street. Within minutes, the attackers were overpowered. Ugo tried to escape, but was shot in the leg. His partner dropped his weapon and raised his hands. Don't shoot, he yelled as the police arrived. Jacob's guards rushed to his car. The bulletproof glass had held. He was shaken but alive. Who sent you? An officer barked at Ugo, pressing his gun to the man's head. Ugo groaned in pain. Nah, one man. One gardener for Lecky White Mansion. Him name Pascal. The words dropped like thunder. The next morning, the story was everywhere. Headlines flashed across every screen. Heiress's husband arrested for attempted murder of billionaire CEO. Pascal sat in the back of a police van, his hands cuffed, his face pale. Cameras flashed as journalists shouted questions. Mr. Pascal, why did you do it? Did you really hire assassins to kill Mr. Jacob Daniels? Is it true you were once married to the heiress? He said nothing. His voice was gone. Inside the mansion, Amara stood by the window shaking. Her assistant handed her the newspaper. She didn't need to read the words. She had already heard them from the police. Ma, the assistant whispered, they said Mr. Pascal confessed. Amara closed her eyes. Her heart sank. not from fear, but from heartbreak. She had given him work, a chance to live again. She had tried to save what was left of his pride, but he chose bitterness instead. "Don't blame yourself," Jacob said softly beside her. "Some hearts never heal." She turned to him, tears glistening. But I believed he could. Outside, reporters crowded the gate, flashing cameras, shouting questions. The mansion that once felt peaceful now echoed with chaos. And as police cars drove away with Pascal in handcuffs, the rain began to fall again, quiet, cold and endless. That night, under the same storm that began his downfall, Pascal sat in a dark cell, whispering her name over and over again. Amara. I didn't mean for it to go this far. But it was too late. The woman he threw out had risen higher than he could ever dream, and now the man she once loved would face the full weight of his own choices. The iron door slammed shut with a heavy clang that echoed through the cold, damp hallway. Pascal sat on the edge of a narrow metal bed, staring at the cracks on the wall. His wrists still bore faint red marks from the handcuffs. Outside the small cell window, daylight struggled to push through the bars. He had not eaten. He had not slept. His mind kept replaying the same scene, the convoy lights, the police shouting, Amara's face in the crowd. She didn't look angry. She didn't even look surprised. She just looked tired. Pascal buried his face in his hands. "I didn't want this," he whispered. "God knows I didn't." A guard banged the door. "You have a visitor." Pascal's head shot up, his heart raced. Only one person came to mind. The door opened and Amara stepped in. She was dressed in a simple cream gown, her face calm but her eyes heavy with sadness. She stood a few feet away, watching him. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Pascal finally broke the silence. "Amara, I didn't mean for anyone to die. I just wanted him gone from you. I was jealous," she said softly, "and angry." He swallowed hard. "I thought I could fix everything. I thought if Jacob was out of the way, maybe you'd see me again." Amara shook her head slowly. "Pascal, love that needs to destroy others isn't love. It's pain pretending to be love." He lowered his gaze, his voice breaking. "You don't know how it feels to watch you smile at someone else. To see another man living my dream." "I do," she said gently. "I watched you smile at your pride while I begged for your heart. I lived with rejection for 5 years. Now you understand my pain." Her words silenced him. She stepped closer and placed a white envelope on the small table. "I dropped the civil suit, but the state will still charge you for attempted murder. They say 20 years. Pascal's breath caught. 20 years? She nodded, blinking back tears. "I can't save you this time, Pascal. You made choices I can't undo." He stood up, trembling. "Please, Amara, I'm sorry, don't let me die here." She hesitated, then reached into her bag and pulled out a small gold cross, the same one she wore during their wedding. She placed it in his hand. "This is all I can give you now. Maybe it will remind you of who you used to be." Pascal's tears fell freely. "Do you still pray for me?" "I never stopped," she said. As the guard led her out, Pascal clutched the cross to his chest. The cell door closed again with a heavy sound. For the first time, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt like judgment. And deep down, Pascal knew his true prison had never been the cell. It had always been his own heart. 5 years later, the morning sun rose over Kirikiri prison, spreading light across the rusty roofs and quiet courtyards. Pascal sat on a wooden bench under the tree in the prison yard, the same place he sat every morning. His hair was grayer now. His once sharp face had grown thin and calm. The white cross Amara had given him hung around his neck, worn but unbroken. He had stopped counting the days. Somewhere along the line, time no longer mattered. Only reflection did. He had become one of the quiet inmates, the one who prayed before meals and never joined fights. "Pascal, warder say you get visitor," a fellow inmate whispered. He looked up slowly. His heart skipped a beat. Visitors were rare for him. He followed the guard through the corridor, the metal doors clanging behind them. When he entered the visiting room, he froze. Amara stood there, graceful as ever, wearing a white blouse and a soft blue skirt. Her hair was pulled back neatly, and beside her stood a little boy, maybe 4 or 5 years old, holding her hand. Pascal's throat tightened. "Amara," he whispered. "You came." She smiled gently. "I heard you've been doing good work here, teaching other inmates to read, helping the chaplain." He nodded, his eyes never leaving the boy. "Who is he?" Her smile deepened with quiet pride. "His name is Daniel. My son." Pascal felt something warm and cold mix inside him at once, happiness for her and the ache of what could never be. "Jacobs?" She nodded. "Yes, he's been a good husband and a good father." Pascal looked down. "I'm glad you found peace." Amara sat opposite him. "I didn't come to reopen old wounds, Pascal. I came because forgiveness means nothing if it ends in silence." Her words sank into him. "I forgave you long ago," she continued softly. "But you need to forgive yourself too. Stop living in punishment even after you've been forgiven." Pascal's eyes glistened. "I don't know how." "Start by living differently," she said. "Use the rest of your life to bring healing where you once brought pain." She reached across the table and touched his hand lightly. "When you get out, the world will still have space for you. I made arrangements. There's a rehabilitation farm I fund for ex-convicts. They'll take you in when your time comes." His lips trembled. "After everything I did, you still want to help me?" Amara smiled faintly. "Because love doesn't stop when marriage ends. It changes shape. You once prayed I'd bring you good luck. Maybe this time you'll find it yourself." The boy tugged her hand. "Mummy, can he come home with us?" She smiled at her son. "Not yet, dear. Maybe one day." Pascal's tears finally fell. Tell him I said thank you." Amara stood. The guard signaled that time was over. She walked to the door, then turned back one last time. "Goodbye, Pascal," she said softly. "Be free, not just when they open the gate, but in your heart." The door shut gently behind her. Pascal sat in silence, the cross still warm in his palm. The sunlight through the bars fell across his face, and for the first time in years he smiled, a small, honest smile. He had lost everything that once defined him, his pride, his wealth, his freedom. But in the ruins of it all, something new had grown. Peace. Outside the prison walls, Amara's car rolled away down the quiet road, her son humming in the back seat. She glanced at the mirror, whispering to herself, some endings aren't revenge, they're redemption. And as the city came alive again under the bright Nigerian sun, two hearts, one behind bars, one free, finally let the past go. If you like this story, comment, share and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.